And welcome everybody to the official how to play Metazoo video. This is going to be just covering the rules and the basics, and I'm going to have a whole nother video that will be dedicated to actual duel. So this is going to be exciting. I'm really excited. If I get anything wrong, I apologize. Please let me know. We can correct it. It's a discussion. Some of the stuff is ambiguous, so I may not go over some stuff. Um, but I'm going to go over everything that I can to help anybody who's never played before be able to get through at least one duel without having a headache. So here we go. So you got some Metazoo product, and now you got some cards. And so at the top right, you get the life points, and then you have the aura type that it needs, and then how much it costs. And then it'll have the name, what it is, a beastie elemental, light elemental is its name. You can have 7 per spell book. Then bronze, silver, and gold rare. These are its traits, and then these are its terras. And then over here you'll have its like abilities or powers above where its attack is, and then it'll have its attack with any descriptions or effects that its attack comes with. And also the reason why I'm using a Nightfall card is because they added strong against, so that you can easily tell what is strong against what. And because part of Cryptonation, you would kind of having to keep going back over to the rule book. So this makes it easy, and it allows the game to flow a lot easier. So that is the breakdown of a card. So now if you have a deck already and you're like, okay, so how does the field go? So you got your spellbook right here, you got your side deck right here, the limbo, cemetery, and afterlife. And when we go over the rules in the rule book, you'll see where everything goes. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's where your terras go. So you can only have 6 terras on the field. They go in this order from left to right. And then after the 6th one, if you have 6 and then you play another one, the 6th one would leave. So I have right here, this is like an aura little pack. This comes from a spell book. If you can get a hold of spell book, this is one of the MVP items of a spell book, because I've opened 2 booster boxes and I still kind of was missing maybe not enough aura as I wanted, because you don't really want to be taking aura in and out of decks that much. And then of course we have the rule book that we are going to be going over. So that is just the basic, the field, the arena, if you will, and then that was a card that I just randomly chose to go over. So now let's get right into the... Alright, so let's get into the rules. Pages must remain where they are played. You may not move any pages in the arena unless a rule or page effect specifically allows it. Unless otherwise stated, all pages enter the arena fatigued, other than aura or in terror cards which enter the arena awakened. When a page is used to generate aura, attack, defend, or use a power, you must fatigue it. A fatigued page cannot be fatigued again until it is awakened. And aura pages may be fatigued on any player's turn to generate aura. It does not cost any aura to attack, defend, or activate powers, but you must fatigue the page. And if a page's LP becomes 0 at any time, it is destroyed, meaning that the LP is reduced to 0. And when a beastie or artifact is destroyed, it is placed into limbo, otherwise stated. So if light elemental was destroyed, it will go into the limbo. And the same goes with a artifact. And so when an effect allows a caster to search through their spellbook for a specific type of page, that caster may choose to complete the search without choosing a page. After a caster searches the spellbook, they must shuffle their spellbook. So I guess maybe if you activated a spell and decided not to get a card, or maybe you already had the card but you still wanted to shuffle your spellbook because you felt like you were getting crappy draws, maybe that could be useful. And then when a spell or potion is contracted, it is placed into the cemetery immediately after it is resolved unless otherwise stated. So spells and potions here, beasties and artifacts here. And then all pages and effects resolve in a first in, last out order. If a single caster has multiple effects activate at the same time, the caster chooses the order to add them. You may contract Terra during your turn for no aura cost. Any Terra in the arena can be used to activate Terra bonuses. Any damage dealt to pages or casters remain between turns. and then all generated aura that is unspent disappears at the end of the turn it was generated. If a caster has 0 pages in their spellbook, they continue playing until a winner is decided. So that is why you potentially maybe don't want to just have 40 cards, is because if you just have to keep playing, you just have to keep going and going. We're not going to go over aura types because it's all on the card, like I spoke about earlier. But what I do want to go out over is the turn in, turn like first in, like last out priority type deal. So okay, so this is how it goes. Player 1 targets Killer Clown with Fireball. Player 2 targets Fireball with Reflection, so you counter it. And so then Reflection gets countered with Dampen. And then the player 2 uses Chupacabra to get Killer Clown's LP back to its maximum so that it wouldn't die. So here's how everything goes. So this is how it was played: Fireball, then Reflection, then Dampen, then Chupacabra. That's how it was gone. It's going to get resolved backwards. So basically, Chupacabra is going to refill the Killer Clown's health with his ability, and then Dampen is going to dampen Reflection, and then since Reflection is dampened, that's going to cause Fireball to do the damage to Killer Clown, and then Killer Clown would survive. But basically, player 1 contracts Fireball targeting Killer Clown. Priority passes to player 2. Player 2 contracts Reflection targeting Fireball. Priority passes to player 1. Player 1 contracts Dampen targeting Reflection. Priority passes to player 2. Player 2 uses Chupacabra's effects text and chooses Killer Clown as a target. Priority passes to player 1. Player 1 chooses to not take another action, so pages and effects in the resolution chain begin to resolve. And so like I was saying, Chupacabra's effect recovers Killer Clown's LP to 40. Dampen stops Reflection from resolving. And Fireball deals 25 damage and inflicts burn to Killer Clown. After all effects resolve, Killer Clown is dealt 25 damage and is inflicted with burn. So that may take a couple of times to register. It's kind of complicated, but it makes sense, and it's important because otherwise damage won't be done properly, and that really hurts both sides. You could really screw yourself over or screw your opponent over, and if you're friends, which we hope everybody's friendly, that you don't want to do that. We all want to be fair. All right, so the other thing that I want to touch on this is trap pages. So, cards that have the trap trait have the option to be placed face down. If a face down page is revealed during the game and it does not have the trap trait, the caster who placed the page face down immediately loses the game. Right. So that's how that. And you can only have one face down trap page under a page at any time. And then trap can be placed without paying the aura cost until it's flipped face up and the face down into the arena, or face down under a beastie or artifact. So a lot of the confusion that comes from traps are how they're flipped up. So if you declare a beastie with a trap under it as a defender, it does not flip the trap up. What would flip a trap up is being targeted by an attack. Just because you declare a defender doesn't mean that trap gets activated. That is kind of OP. If you think about it, it really wouldn't be fair in just how turns in combat should go. So that's really what I wanted. And then you cannot just flip a trap up at any time. You cannot. So unless there are some trap pages that can specify that you can flip it up at another time. But it either needs to be attacked directly the trap or the beastie that the trap is under, or artifact that the trap is under. I guess I should just say page. So if a trap is under a page and the page is attacked, you can flip the trap up. Or if the trap is in the arena and it's attacked directly, then you can also flip that trap up. But you cannot just have a beastie that has a trap under it, declare it as a defender for another beastie, and then flip that trap up. That would not be a valid move. Real quick, everybody. So with running out of pages, if both people do run out of pages, however, if not just like one person runs out of pages, if both people run out of pages in their spellbook, the game ends in a draw. Nobody wins or loses. All right. And so before we get into status effects, okay, so when it's gonna talk every turn, that means like this person has a turn, then this person has a turn, and that's 2 turns, okay? Not not like two people go and then that's one turn. I know that's kind of how a lot of people think, and that's kind of how like card games were when like maybe our generation was younger. I don't know. I'm 28, so like my generation, that's kind of how like I was thinking. But how Metazoo does it is this person has a turn, that's 1 turn for a counter, and then this person has a turn, and then that's 1 turn for a counter. So if you really want to have something go for like a full round, you want to have 2 turns on counters. So anyway, now that we have the counters and the whole turn thing cleared out, before we get into all the status effects, we're going to kind of move right on through these status effects because they're pretty self-explanatory, I think, besides the whole confusion between the every turn thing. So frozen can affect artifacts and beasties. When a page is inflicted with frozen, place a frozen indicator on that page. Fatigue the page immediately and place counters on the indicator equal to X. At the start of every turn, remove a counter from the frozen indicator. So that's what I mean. If you freeze something for 1 turn, you end your turn. The next turn, the frozen goes away, and then it awakens like normal. So it's like it was never frozen really in my eyes. That's why I think Frozen 1 is just kind of eh. Anyway, when you remove the final indicator this way, awaken the page. So even if like you did do 2 and like the next turn, right, you freeze 2 and you end your turn and it goes down to 1. They end their turn, it comes back to you. It's your turn, but their page will still awaken because that's how Frozen works. So then when a frozen page takes any damage outside of combat in which it was inflicted with frozen, remove the frozen indicator from this page. So you don't want to inflict, like, you want frozen to be the last thing you do. You don't want to freeze something and then hit it with a fireball or with attack. You want frozen to be the last thing you do if you really want to cement that frozen in. And then a frozen page cannot awaken under any circumstances. Start a turn, page effect, or any other action. Duh. Okay. And so now we're moving on to burn. So burn can affect beasties or casters as well. When a page is inflicted with burn, place a burn indicator on the page. And when a caster is inflicted with burn, place a burn indicator in front of the caster. Roll a die, and a 6-sided die. And place a number of counters on that burn indicator equal to the result of the roll. At the start of every turn, remove a counter from the burn indicator. When there are no counters left on the burn indicator, remove it from the page or caster. While a caster is burned, the caster loses 20 life points every time they declare an attack with a beastie they control. And while a page is burned, that page loses 20 life points each time an attack is declared with that beastie. So yes, that means if a caster is burned and you have 5 beasties and you attack with all 5 beasties, you will lose 100 life points that turn. So, and then, if you use like lightning in a bottle and awaken a beastie after you attack with it, and then you attack again, it will have taken 40 damage that turn. Now, poison can affect beasties or casters. A page or caster may have up to 3 poison indicators on it. When a page is inflicted with poison, place a poison indicator on the page. When a caster is inflicted with poison, place a poison indicator in front of the caster. Poison pages and casters lose LP equal to 10 times the number of poison indicators on it at the end of every turn. A poison indicator is removed at the start of the 3rd turn from which it was placed. So basically, remember what we said with the turns. All right, so if I have poison 3 on me, a caster, and then the turn ends, I take 30 damage, and then it goes to the next person's turn, right? Then they end their turn, then I take 30 damage again, and then I come back to me again, and then that is when the poison is moved. So basically, you take the poison damage twice. And then at the beginning of the 3rd turn, that's when you remove that poison. So you take 2 turns with the damage. 1 turn here, end of turn there, beginning of 3rd turn, boom, it's gone. All right. And that's assuming if you just have 2 people. You can, of course, have more than 1 person in a duel. All right. So paralyze. When a page is inflicted with paralyze, flip a coin. And if it's heads, place a paralyzed indicator on the page. Paralyzed pages are considered to have no effect text. All of their attacks damages become 0. and after applying other modifiers, so like even after modifiers, and lose all effects, and they cannot attack or defend. Remove the paralyzed indicator from the page at the end of the next turn from when the indicator was placed. So basically, if something's paralyzed, it's useless. One turn gone, useless. Next turn, still gone. End of the turn, it's good again. It's not necessarily awakened right away like frozen, but its effects will come back into play, and it can be reawakened when its turn is ready again. Sleep can affect beasties only. So when a page is inflicted with sleep, flip a coin, and if heads, place a sleep indicator on the page and fatigue the page. A sleeping page cannot awaken under any circumstance, much like frozen. And whenever a sleeping page becomes a target of an attack, remove the sleep indicator from it, much like frozen again. And when a sleeping page takes any damage outside of the combat in which it was inflicted with sleep, double the damage. That's where it's different. You get double damage from either a spell or an attack from when you damage something while it's asleep. And then remove the sleep indicator from the page and awaken it. So you get to awaken it as soon as it becomes damaged and it becomes awakened. So I guess that makes sense. If it was asleep, it becomes awakened. It's kind of confusing for the explanation. But anyway, scared. It can affect beasties. When a page is inflicted with scared, place a scared indicator on the page anytime the page would be fatigued. Flip a coin, and if tails, return the page to its owner's chapter, and if heads, remove the scared indicator from the page. So basically, if you get that heads, boom, you're good. But if you get that tails, man, you can send that page right back to its owner's chapter. And I believe so. That would be whoever the beastie's owner is would be flip the coin, because as we will get to with fear is much different. You will flip the coin right away. This is for when the beastie would be fatigued at any time to like activate a power or whatever. So this is not a right away flip. This is for later, unless like maybe the beastie was trying to, or artifact was trying to do something right away. Or I mean just beastie, duh. Artifacts cannot be scared, as I just read. Confusion can affect beasties. When a page is affected with confusion, place a confusion indicator on the page. Anytime a page with confusion would deal damage with an attack, flip a coin, and if tails, deal that much damage to the page that used the attack instead, and remove the confusion indicator. If heads, the attack occurs as normal. So basically, confusion stays. Oh no, it doesn't. It removed the confusion. So basically, this is just like scared. It's a one shot Johnny. You flip a coin, and if it's tails, then you deal the damage to the page instead, like to the page that is attacking instead. And if it's heads, then you're good. The attack occurs as normal. Pretty straightforward as well. And that's the effects. Ta-da! So the last thing I want to talk about in the quick rulebook explanation is the traits. So we're just going to really quickly cover the traits. Anything else, I think you guys really should read over the rulebook yourself. If you don't have one in person, that's fine. You can always go to the Metazoo actual website, and they have a rulebook on there. It's really easy. You can just hit Control F and find anything you need to. It makes it really easy to find anything that you want to look for in the rulebook. It's very thorough, and I would even argue it's maybe even a little bit easier to read than this little bad boy. But anyway, we're going to go through these real quick. So Bloodsucker. Whenever a beastie with this trait deals damage, it recovers LP equal to the damage it is dealt to targeted page, not exceeding the targeted page's LP. Burrow. At the start of each turn, you may declare that a beastie with burrow is burrowing until the end of that turn. A burrowed beastie cannot declare an attack, be declared as a defender, or activate a power. A burrowed beastie cannot be targeted by any spell, artifact, power, or attack, unless the attacking beastie has burrow. Convert. You may fatigue a beastie or artifact with this trait to generate one aura of the same type as the page with this trait. Destroyer. If a beastie with this trait deals damage using an attack or beastie or artifact, the damaged beastie or artifact is destroyed. So, boom, you out of here no matter how much damage it is. Then Defender. Beastie or artifact with the Defender trait temporarily doubles its maximum LP during an opponent caster's turn. Fear. When a beastie with this trait is contracted, you may target a beastie and flip a coin. If heads, it is placed back into its owner's chapter. So fear is a really good one. You just get that contracted, and then right away you just boom, go for it. And then First Strike. A beastie or spell with this trait deals damage with first, whether attacking or defending. If both the attacker and defender have this trait, to determine who deals damage first. Flip a coin to determine who deals damage first. So say First Strike is good. So if you have First Strike and you destroy your beast, like the other opponent's beastie with your attack first, it doesn't take damage because it struck first. Flash. When a beastie or artifact with this trait is contracted into the arena, flip a coin. If heads, target beastie cannot declare an attack until the end of its caster's turn. So that's kind of like Fear, but it doesn't go back into the owner's hand. Instead, it just can't attack until the caster's next turn. Fleet. A beastie with this trait does not enter the arena fatigued. So fleet beasties can just be awakened immediately. And then Flight. Beasties with this trait can only be targeted or can only be the target of a declared attack by other beasties with flight. So you can defend against a flying beastie, but you cannot target a flying beastie with an attack from something that's not flying. Then Magiproof. Beastie or artifact with this trait cannot be targeted by spells. So you see that symbol? Spells, no here. And then Immortal. The beastie or artifact with this trait is not destroyed when its LP is reduced to 0, but can be destroyed by other page effects. So there are certain spells and effects out there that get rid of Immortal cards. So you really need to be on the lookout for that. Infectious is a real neat one. Every time a beastie with this trait destroys another beastie, place a nameless beastie token into the arena with maximum LP equal to this beastie's maximum LP, and attacks with damage and aura attack advantage equal to the printed damage of attacks on this beastie. The token is of the same aura type as the beastie with this trait. Okay, so that's a lot of text to basically say, if we're just gonna give light elemental as an example. She is not infectious, so I know I can read. She's not infectious, but if she did damage and she destroyed a beastie, she would create a nameless token that would be 20 LP, 10 damage, and it would, I believe it would have the same name. No, it'd just be a nameless token. Place a nameless species token into the arena with maximum LP equal to this species' maximum LP, and attack with damage and aura attack advantage. So it's light, and so if it had like an extra aura attack advantage right here, it would have that as well. So basically it's just a copy of this, but it's just a token. So don't get too confused on that. That was a really long paragraph to basically say if you destroy a beastie with a beastie that has infectious, then you just get to create a copy of your beastie again as a nameless token. And then Invisible. No defenders may be declared when a beastie or artifact with this trait declares an attack, and this beastie or artifact may not be the target of a declared attack. So Invisible is pretty cool. Regen. For each regen trait a beastie has, it recovers 10 LP at the end of each turn. And so yes, there are multiple beasties with multiple regen traits on there. So I think the most I've seen is 2. So that way they would recover 20 LP at the end of each turn. Spirit. A beastie or artifact with this trait cannot be the target of a declared attack. Stone Skin. A beastie with this trait reduces all damage it would take outside of attacking or defending to 0. Effects that would cause a beastie to lose LP are not prevented by Stone Skin. And then Trap. A page with this trait may be placed face down from your chapter to the arena or face down under a beastie or artifact without paying its aura cost. The process of flipping a page with this trait face up is detailed above in the Traps pages section, as we kind of went over before. But read over it yourself. I only went over like a few of the main key things that I think confuse people. Then Unblockable. No defenders may be declared when a beastie or artifact with this trait declares an attack. And then Venomous. If a beastie with this trait is a defender, the attacking beastie is inflicted with poison 1. And then Equipment. If a beastie or artifact or spell has this trait, you may attach this page to a chosen beastie. And then Self-Destruct. You may fatigue this page on your turn to destroy this page. So all those are pretty self-explanatory, and I guess you kind of really need to see them in action to really get them. But that is what I would cover for the rule book before we get into it. And thank you guys for watching. And the next video, we will be doing a mock duel between two of my decks. So I hope you enjoy that as well.